All right, what's up, guys? I hope you guys are having a great day, man. I got a banger video for you guys here today. We're going to be going over my new and improved 3-4 odd defense against near close flex. You guys probably play against it a ton if you guys play weekend league or MUT head-to-head, man. It's probably the biggest meta in the game right now, and it's super, super annoying to try and defend against just because those rollout corners are just so good this year, man. Those cloud flats, they just come down whenever the quarterback rolls out, and the corner routes just get wide open over the top. So I'm going to be showing you guys some coverage adjustments that work not against just near close flex, but really any corner route in general, whether it's bunch or split close or anything like that worth rollout corners. I'll show you guys kind of a universal concept that I use on defense to defend that, but I'm going to be showing you guys some more specific things as well to go ahead and be able to stop this near close flex. Now I want to show you guys my MUT team setup. Now there's two options you can take here. I prefer to have 3 D-line chems. Use inside stuff, pass rush elite, edge threat elite, and enforcer on all of them, and it just really helps me against all the kids online who love to run halfback dive and halfback stretch all the time, because my dudes on the D-line just shoot through the blocks no problem every single time and make the tackles or get hit sticks with that enforcer. So it's really nice having that. Plus I get really insane pass rush. You could also do 1D tackle with pass rush elite and inside stuff, and then the other 2 abilities don't really matter that much. Reach elite's a good ability as well, and then you could do 2 corners. So if you feel like you get burned mostly online by people doing rollout corners, what I would recommend is using 2 corners or 2 safeties with these following abilities. So Night Train is a really good example of somebody that you can use abilities on, just because he has enforcer, so you can play safety or you can play corner because he has good press as well. Ed Reed's another really good kind of a hybrid guy. He's got that hit power, but he can also play corner if you really need him to. What I would use is I would use universal coverage, enforcer, lurker, and pick artist. If you don't have the ability like Ed Reed doesn't get enforcer, what you could do instead is acrobat. Acrobat is a really great ability. Basically what this is going to do when you use those guys at corners is, even though none of these zones really play it that well, I will show you guys some zones that allow your guys to go ahead and put them in positions to go ahead and contest those corner routes. And then when you have universal coverage on top of that, a lot of the times they're going to be able to jump it at least like 50% of the time and get their hands on the ball with that pick artist. They're going to be more likely to catch it. Super underrated ability right there. You basically just get extra spec catch animations on defense, so you can go ahead and just basically just ag it over the wide receiver. It's pretty crazy. But basically with these abilities, man, these corners just turn into absolute pick machines. They're going to jump routes they normally don't. They normally don't jump if they don't have these abilities. So if you really are struggling against those rollout corners, you feel like your weakness is your zone coverage, definitely rock 2 corners on the outside. Worst case scenario, let's say you're playing somebody who doesn't like rollout corners, you can just move them up to safety. You're less likely to get like cover 3 bombed. You're less likely to get like faded or seamed up the middle of the field. So yeah, that's what I really like about using those DB abilities. Right now, I'm just trying out these 3D lines, seeing what I can do with it, and I am enjoying it. But the DBs are really cool as well, just because you can get so versatile with them depending on what formation you're going against, depending on what formation you're in. It's just a lot of fun. But that's basically my setup for MUT. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Actually, let me show you abilities on my D-line real quick, and then we're going to jump into practice mode, show you guys all the abilities that I rock as well. I'll just show you here what I have on Clowney. So I have Clowney, LT, and Myles Garrett with abilities. Edge threat elite, unstoppable force, pass rush elite, inside stuff, and reach elite. So some really great abilities here as well. And then one of the things I will note as well is I carry 2 really good coverage, really fast guys on my team here at outside linebacker. This is really important. They play my outside linebacker in my 3-4 odd defense. I have Keith Bulluck here, who has 90+ man and 90+ zone, as well as 95 speed. So he's actually just an absolute animal in coverage. A lot of people were trashing that card, but I think he is really good. Polamalu is somebody that you could use as well in that position. I prefer to use Polamalu though, just because he just plays so well. He's so smooth to use her. And then Isiah Simmons is the other guy. This is kind of a budget guy. Again, he has really good zone coverage. He has 96 speed and he's 6'4" as well. So I basically just have 2 very rangy linebackers that I use in these positions. And I'll show you guys why this matters. He's 93 zone here and 83 man. I'll show you guys why I use these players when I go against near close flex and how I use them to go ahead and neutralize those deep rollout corners. So with that being said, man, let's go ahead, jump into practice mode and show you guys what the defensive setup looks like. Alright guys, so here we are in practice mode. I'm going to be showing you guys my setup, what I do against this near close flex. Now there are 3 things. One of the things is right here, my 3-4 odd stock coverage, which I'm going to be showing you guys again. It's not stock coverage, but it's stock coverage to me. It's what I run every single down, pretty much. And then I'll mix in 2 other things. One being the user rush from the video I showed you guys last time. That still is a very viable defense. We're going to be calling the same play on defense. so you can give them the same look and then just use a different defense, essentially. Basically just throw them off guard, keep them honest, that kind of thing. So you guys can still incorporate that if you guys want to. Maybe mix it in every set of downs, every other set of downs, something to just really make the person on offense completely uncomfortable. So that's something that's still very effective. I just prefer to run this coverage cell that I'll show you guys here in a second. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll just send 8 or 9 people. I literally send 9 people against this near close flex. It is a tight compressed set. So if you have somebody, especially with Lurker, man, if you have like Calvin Johnson with Lurker, you can cover so much of the field. And if you mix it in, again, every set of downs, every other set of downs, just constantly mixing it up on them, keeping them surprised, man, making them block everybody when in fact you're only rushing 3, or making them send everybody out and then boom, you send the whole team at them. Just constantly keeping it fresh, man. Not being predictable. That's one of the biggest things I see from an above average player to an elite player. It's just mixing things up well, playing those mind games, playing that game of chess. I know Madden this year, the gameplay is a lot of stretch and dive, a lot of stock coverage with just crazy sheds. But it's not always going to be like that, hopefully, man. It's always good to try and actually improve, even if it's maybe not the meta or the easiest way to play currently. Constantly just trying to outthink your opponent and outsmart them is going to make you a better Madden player. And mixing in blitzes or mixing in user rushes or mixing in different zone adjustments and just throwing your opponent off guard and making them make mistakes, causing turnovers, is going to win you a lot more games. So even if you're not very good at it at first, maybe you give up some easy touchdowns because you put guys in the wrong zones, or you blitz too many guys and you don't cover the right area with your user. We all learn from our mistakes, so that's one of the best ways to go ahead and become better, man, is take those risks, try to switch it up, try to throw your opponent off guard, and I promise you guys are going to have a lot more success. It might just take a little bit of time, but I promise you that you guys will see improvement in your gameplay. With that being said, let's go ahead and show you guys what I would do with my abilities. So if I was in MUT and I had 2 DBs active with universal coverage and Lurker, I would put them at the outside here. Your ball hawking fastest safeties up top, 99 speed, Justin Reed or Ed Reed, any guys like that are going to be really good. Here in the middle, you probably want your 2 best user guys, so like 99 Shazier and Golden Ticket Palomalu for me would play there. And then on the outside, we'd have our ball hawk, not our ball hawk, but our rangy, fast, good cover guys, Isiah Simmons and Golden Ticket Keith Bulluck. At D-tackle here, we'd put our guy with inside stuff and pass rush elite, and then we'd have 2 just any edge rushers that you want. Reggie White, Simeon Rice, doesn't really matter that much right there, but that's the personnel. Let's go ahead and jump into the setups now. Alright guys, like I said, we're still calling the same play from the last video. It's called pinch dog 2 press, and we're just going to be doing some different adjustments out of this. I like the pinch dog 2 press because there are some cover 3 beaters, especially out of this near close flex formation, and by running a cover 2 shell, where we have 2 deep halves up top, especially with fast guys with good zone, we're not going to get burned for easy touchdowns. That's why I like to come out in the shell. It is super simple. All we're going to do is we're going to do LB or L1 if you're on PS4, down on the left stick, which basically pinches our defense so everybody comes in tight. We're going to go left on the D-pad, down on the right stick, slant our point of attack down, basically telling our D-line to crash down. Now this is what our coverage cell looks like. This is where it starts to get a little bit complicated, so this is going to take a little bit. I know some people are going to comment and be like, oh, this is too many adjustments, like it takes too long. First of all, near close flex is not really a formation that you can quick snap out of. A lot of it's predicated around rolling out, and in order to roll out, you have to chop block, which means you have to double team the end and ID the outside linebacker. So it's going to take them at least a couple seconds to go ahead and be able to do that. Plus, they have to hot route, read the defense, decide what routes they're going to throw before they even hike the ball. So this is not really an offense that you can quick hike with. So don't worry about being caught, man. You may early on, but once you get that muscle memory down, once you practice this a lot in practice mode or online, you guys are going to be able to do this in just a couple seconds. I do it very, very quickly. I will slow it down for you guys, though, just so you guys can, get a clear idea of what I'm actually doing here on defense. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double tap Y. What that does is it brings up my secondary adjustments. I'm going to click B, which is my corner on the right, and I'm going to go up on the left stick to put him in an outside third. Now, this is what I was saying earlier in the video, where I found a universal adjustment, that works against almost every rollout corner. In my opinion, this is the best way to guard them. It is a pressed third on the outside corner. And then what I'll do is I'll press Y, and then I'll hit right on the right stick to shade outside. So the difference is huge when you shade. Shading is really not that important. It will help a little bit, though. You really won't notice it unless you're playing very, very close attention. But I will shade outside. And as you can see there, it just basically changes alignment a little bit. But he will play a little bit more towards the sideline, which is nice, and that's what we want, especially against a formation like this where our opponent is just constantly rolling out and throwing corner routes. So this is our adjustments so far. We just have that outside third. Again, that's going to work out against any formation, really, whether it's gun bunts, tight slots, I-form close, whatever it is, man. If it's a compressed set and they're throwing those rollout corners, I love to pinch my defense and put my outside corners in thirds. Now, this obviously leaves us vulnerable to underneath corners, or short corners, excuse me. Now, in a play like this on smash, this is a deep corner as opposed to a corner route, a short corner that you can audible to if you have slot apprentice or if you have hot route master. We do have to be cautious of those short corners because those will get underneath those deep blues right there. But the deep corners, these ones that players use to roll out and throw deep, this outside third is going to be very effective against stopping that. So what we'll do here is I'll basically just show you guys real quick before we start what this looks like. So if I call hike here, I roll out, and as you can see there, our outside third actually plays it very, very well. If I wasn't using two controllers, I could easily click on and probably pick that. Plus, that's DeAndre Hopkins, 99 overall with post flag elite. So he's going to catch it a lot with post flag elite. But again, if I wasn't, usering that corner or usering the wide receiver, what I could do is I could easily just click on, swerve in front of that, hold X to swat, or hold Y to pick it off. Very easy. As you can see, that zone actually played it really, really well, as opposed to just a cloud, which I'll show you guys right now. So if we roll out right here, we get the chop block, and as you can see, he just burns them up the sideline. And unfortunately, we just got extremely pressured there, so we had to throw it on the run inaccurately. But again, as you can see there, the cloud just doesn't play far back enough. Even if we don't press, watch what happens. So even if we don't press, it doesn't really matter. Like the cloud's still not going to play it. So we roll out, and it just gets over every single time. And Deshaun Watson cannot throw right now. But as you can see, the cloud just has no chance of playing it, which is why I love those outside thirds. So again, all we're going to do is L being down to pinch our defense. We're going to do an outside third here on our outside corner by double tapping Y, hitting the B icon, and then going up on the left stick, and then we shade outside by going Y and then right on the right stick. And that's what this looks like. Now, there are a couple different things you can do as well. There are some deep corners on the left. I prefer to keep my soft squat out there, and what I'll do, again, we have these two coverage guys on the outside linebackers, is I'll double tap right on the D-pad to pull up my linebacker icons. I'll go up on the right stick to put him in man coverage, and then I'll select the person I want him to guard in man-to-man. So if right here I want him to guard the tight end. If that's Keith Bulluck, he's going to bag pretty much every tight end. Keith Bulluck is actually a beast for me. And what I'll do here as well is I'll double tap the right D-pad again, hit B, and man up A. Now, if it's Randy Moss, your linebacker is probably not going to completely bag him. But what he will do is he'll very slightly bump him off the line, throwing off the timing of the play. And not only that, but it's basically just going to kind of discourage your opponent from throwing it. Like, he will run relatively well with DeAndre Hopkins, whether it's a post over the middle, whether it's a crosser, whether it's the deep corner route. He will run with him. He won't get burned that bad. There will be a little bit of space, but it's basically there to just discourage your opponent from throwing it. And if he does throw it, there are chances we get, multiple DBs there on the ball, able to knock it out, get a tip pick or something like that. So he's not going to completely bag him in man coverage, but in my opinion, it's going to take away the focal part of this entire offense, which right there is that slot receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. So this is one of the coverage cells I like to run. I'll show you guys what this looks like if I roll out. So we roll out. See, as you can see there, he gets bumped off the line, and he does beat the linebacker, but as you can see there, it throws off the timing, and there's just so many other people by the time he gets open there to play it that it's going to be a pick a decent amount of the time as long as you catch it, and it's really just the best coverage defense against this. It is such an effective way to play against it. I'll show you guys a couple other little adjustments that you can make as well. I don't always run that same exact coverage. What I'll do here is, again, I'll pinch my defense. I'll put my guy in an outside third. I'll man up both guys. And then what I'll do here is with my middle linebackers, I'll put him in a spy. So I'll do double on the right D-pad. I'll hit Y, and I'll go left on the right stick to put him in a QB spy, because you guys know they love the rollouts, and when you're only rushing 3, you're not going to really get a good QB contain. So you can go ahead and use a QB spy right there, keep him in the pocket, and then you're basically just responsible for everything over the middle of the field. One of the things I do as well is when I do crash my D-line down, I'll stand in this gap right here. This will stop any fullback dive. for pretty much no gain, even sometimes a loss of a gain. So this is really, really effective for stopping that fullback dot as well. And then let's say your opponent's running a lot of crossers to the left, right? Let's say they notice that you're kind of bagging that deep corner on the right. So what they'll do is they'll put Hopkins on a crosser, going to the left side of the field, or a post. One of the things you can do, this is a nice little tip that a lot of people don't know about. You can hit Y, then you can hit A to individually adjust. You can hit X, which will select the corner on the left, and then you can do up on the left stick to back him off. So he backs off a couple yards, and then we can hit Y and shade over top this time. And then this corner will do a way better job of playing any post that comes over to the left side of the field. I don't have Hot Route Master, or DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have Slot Apprentice, so I can't actually show you guys that. But that is one of the ways that I like to defend those deep crossers going to the left. And again, if you have universal coverage, it's going to play it even better on that left side. But that is a really cool way. You can actually do that with just about anybody. So Y, A, B icon, we can back this dude up if we want to, so we don't get burned. We can do it with the safeties as well. It's a very, very cool feature that a lot of people really, really don't know about, and that is super effective for making sure that you don't get burned, or making sure that you defend routes deeper than your guys normally play. So I'll show you guys a quick other thing that I do. Obviously, when I do those things, we kind of leave the flats open. So one of the things you can do instead of manning up A is you can put this guy right here in a hard flat. If they like to throw any sort of running back wheel routes there, or maybe they're motioning out an out route to the outside, they're kind of noticing that you're not leaving a zone out there. So that's one of the things you can do as well. Then you can man up X, and then you can put Y is actually, you can put Y here in a middle read down on the left stick. And what basically mid reads do is they'll basically try to match any crossover in the middle. Again, a linebacker and a wide receiver, it's going to be pretty hard for them to match all the way down the sideline. But as long as you're using D-line chems and you're able to generate a little bit of pressure, by the time that wide receiver gets all the way to the sideline and beats the coverage or the mid-read, you're going to get pressure a decent amount of the time. And if you don't, you do have other zones out there that can help defend that route, like Ed Oliver here, or actually Isiah Oliver in a soft squat or a cloud flat. So a lot of this defense, again, is kind of predicated on basically just bumping guys off their routes and manning up those outside linebackers is going to help you accomplish that. Again, just watch the tight end here, watch the slot receiver. They do both get bumped. So as you can see, the tight end gets bumped, the receiver gets bumped a little bit, and even though they are able to beat their coverage just a little bit, it just throws out the timing just enough for those other zones to be able to help out and possibly make a break on the ball. So this is really, really effective defense against that near close flex. You don't have to worry about getting bombed. It's pretty straightforward once you get down that muscle memory, once you get down those quick adjustments. And again, a lot of times I will mix in a blitz. So if I think they're, if they're max protecting, and they're rolling out and throwing corners, I've been playing coverage for like the last 4 or 5 downs. What I'll do here is I'll blitz everybody. So I'll blitz all my linebackers. I'll blitz both of my corners. And then I'll contain. So it looks like this. And then I'll use this linebacker. So it kind of looks like I'm still running the same coverage. If they have identifier, they still see him on the linebacker. They don't suspect anything. And then they snap the ball and try to roll out. And the corners just fly off the edges and basically get a sack. So and by blitzing, oh my God. Is he going to score here? What? He broke the tackle too? What is going on? But basically by sending those outside corners, even if they chop block, the outside corners are not going to get chop blocked, so they're going to come in free and basically prevent your opponent from rolling out. So if they want to complete a pass against an all-out blitz like that where you are blitzing both outside corners, they're going to have to stand in the pocket and make a read. And especially if they're not expecting it, they're just going to get absolutely screamed at, lose a ton of yards. And then we got that user rush we can incorporate as well from the last video. If you guys haven't checked that out, definitely recommend it. But really, I bag near close flex. If you guys watch me on Twitch, I bag it every time I play it. This is how I do it. I'm mixing those 3 different techniques. Mainly about 75% plus of the time, I'm running this coverage defense right here, and it's just super, super effective. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. Hopefully you guys find some success in stopping rollout corners and stopping near close flex. And if you guys have any recommendations for future videos or any feedback on this, feel free to leave it down below. Drop a like as well. I would definitely appreciate it, man. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.